the question on everybody's mind right now is, who is Jack the Ripper?
Well, the answer to the question on everyone's mind is... Psych. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer. I wish I did.
I'm sorry, even in Fate, I don't have an answer. Fate's entire thing with Jack the Ripper is, we don't fucking know.
Look, how very on brand of them. I can't help but admire it. At least they're honest.
Actually, it is implied in Fate that there are a version of Jack the Ripper for every theory that was ever made, in every possible interpretation, or even every possible way it could have happened. But since nobody knows, that is part of the servant.
Interesting. See, I like that because Jack the Ripper is such a prolific character in terms of how much we don't know and how much we do know. Like, we know that there are these 5 core murders, right? That were probably committed by the same person. But at the same time, we don't know that they're committed by the same person. And there's another, I think, auxiliary 13 that are primarily attributed as auxiliaries. And then another like 20 or 40, depending on what theory you subscribe to. But it's the 5 main ones, and then there's another 13 or so that people are like, this seems pretty likely. And then countless numbers of murders attributed to him depending on what theory you ascribe to. For example, there's one theory that Jack the Ripper took a 2-year break and then escaped to America and started murdering people on Ellis Island and in New York. Because there was a slew of murders in New York a year or 2 later that was very similar.
So at this point, you're probably noticing I have yet to actually look up Jack the Ripper. And that's because I want to make sure to get the one that you'll find more tasteful out of the way first.
Oh boy, that's not a great start. Do you want me to, like, close my eyes?
Yeah, because I might pull up the wrong one on accident.
I feel like I'm about to get, like, tricked or something. This seems sus. God, what the fuck's wrong with the other one that you think I'm going to be so against it?
Okay, this should be good. All right, go ahead. So there is actually...
Okay.
This one is not in Fate Grand Order. This one is in a series called Fate's Strange Fake, written by the guy who did Durarara.
Okay, and you know me, I love some Durarara.
Yeah. And as far as this interpretation of Jack the Ripper goes, he can literally become anybody. The only thing that's consistent about him,
Okay.
we'll get to that when we get to that, is a watch.
Huh, interesting. Would the watch have something to do with, like, time in specific, or is it...
Again, this is an untranslated work, so I'm not 100% sure what the watch was.
Well, I was going to say, because there is the final murder that Jack the Ripper's attributed, right, out of his core 5. The final 2 happened, I think it's something like 15 minutes apart and 2 miles apart, and the first one was interrupted, right, as far as they can tell. Like, if it was Jack the Ripper, he didn't get to do his full ritual thing, but then the one that wasn't interrupted is far more brutal and more finished. And that's a whole kind of timing across distance issue in Whitechapel. And I mean, I've been to Whitechapel in the modern day, and it is relatively easy to get from point A to point B in a pretty short amount of time. I mean, I did the touristy thing, and I did the Jack the Ripper tour because we were staying in Whitechapel, which, by the way, beautiful place to stay. And the tour guide has, like, the old pictures of the crime scene where, like, entrails are hung on the ceiling, and they're the shittiest pictures ever because it's, like, black and white, like, pose the camera and pull down on the fucking thing. And it's absolutely super interesting, and they get the tour guides to, like, act it out and pretend like they're investigating it as they lead you through. And then recently I just watched Ripper Street, which is a British crime drama, 5 seasons long, that the first couple episodes start covering Jack the Ripper, obviously, as it's happening, with the detectives trying to figure it out as it's going. And then there's also that documentary that's recently been really popular on YouTube, and the 50 other documentaries I've watched. I think even BuzzFeed Unsolved did a Jack the Ripper episode. I mean, it is the criminal case in the Western world.
I mean, yeah, Jack the Ripper is the poster child of unsolved serial killers.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, like, the Zodiac Killer and stuff like that. By the way, congrats, we found him. But, I mean, the Zodiac Killer, that was, like, the 70s. Jack the Ripper, that's the 1800s.
Very history.
Yeah. So I have to wonder if the watch maybe has something to do with timing.
It could. It could also have to do. It could also be one of those pieces of evidence that were found and never. I don't know all the evidence of Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, I don't think there was a watch. The thing is, a lot of the evidence was found was pretty unsubstantial, like half of a ripped apron here or something there. And then the one piece that really made waves back in the early 2000s was some dude claimed that his grandmother had taken a shawl from the crime scene of Jack the Ripper, except it had been sitting up in his attic for like 100 years or something, and he never consented to letting the bloodstains on it be analyzed. And so everyone was like, oh my god, it could have the DNA of Jack the Ripper. And no, it couldn't at this point. And honestly, it hasn't been dated. There's no actual confirmation of it. It's bullshit.
So normally, Jack the Ripper would be summoned into one of a very particular versions of him. So you wouldn't just get this sort of ambiguous, oh, he could be anyone kind of...
Maybe that's what the watch is for. Maybe the watch keeps track of all the possibilities of...
No, he can literally just become whatever he wants.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, maybe the watch is some sort of, like, cosmetic pick-me or something. I don't know.
I don't believe so.
Well, because it's got all those circles on it that are kind of revolving on the two sides. I guess not. I'm just theorizing here because I like Jack the Ripper.
Actually, I don't know if he always has the watch or not. Either way, the watch is something connected to him. I'm a little bit less familiar with this one because this is a Japanese-only work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jack the Ripper could look like that. We'll leave the visually appealing one on since there's no April Fool's art.
Yeah. So what classes is he summoned into?
This one is a Berserker.
Okay.
The other one that's been summoned into Fate so far is an Assassin.
Okay.
The Berserker form, because the reason why there is no set form for this one as opposed to other ones, including the one that's been seen as an Assassin in other potential Jack the Rippers that have been talked about, is that this one had a very unusual summoning.
Okay.
You'll enjoy this, I think.
Okay, what is it?
So, let me tell you a story. This is basically the prologue to this this Fate work.
Oh, no.
So, another guerrilla war is going on in the US of A this time.
Oh, good old USA.
And word of that reaches the clock tower, including to Lord Elmaloy II.
Oh, all hail, my bay, Lord Elmaloy II.
Lord Elmaloy II. Lord Elmaloy II leaves that little report to him on the table on accident, though. And Flat Escardos sees it.
Okay.
Do you remember Flat from that case file?
Yeah, he's one of the two idiots, right? Gray's friends?
He's the idiot that called Lord Elmaloy the Big Ben of Clock Tower.
Yeah.
That guy.
One of the idiots.
Yeah. So the idiot saw that and bugged Lord Elmaloy about it.
Okay.
Lord Elmaloy gets him to bugger off and hands him a little prop knife from the that he got. I think it was from a cereal box or something, just like some toy themed after Jack the Ripper.
Okay.
Flat thinks it's his
actual knife.
Thinks it's an actual catalyst to summon a servant, and Lord Elmaloy is giving him his blessings to go fight in the Grail War. So he brings this fake Jack the Ripper knife and uses it to summon Jack the Ripper. But because this is not associated with any given interpretation of Jack the Ripper, he summons ambiguous whoever the fuck.
Oh, please tell me that this Berserker is also semi-intelligent, at least.
Oh, very intelligent, actually.
Oh, thank God. An intelligent Berserker is like a needle in a fucking haystack.
Actually, it's kind of weird. From what I understand, the Berserker, if it were summoned into any other class, would be rather just murder-happy.
Huh.
But as a Berserker, it kind of balances itself out, kind of like a double negative. What's madness upon madness?
Madness squared, I would say, but I suppose not in this case.
So he's actually fairly well spoken. Although he ends up coming off like a ghost.
I could see the benefits of having a Berserker servant who can literally look like any normal human, though. Absolutely 10 out of 10.
All right, now for what I've been dodging.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Qualified servant classes. Assassin. Meet the Jack the Ripper that appears in Fate Grand Order and Fate Apocrypha.
Why is it a lolly not wearing underwear? Wow. Ooh, it is wearing underwear. I don't know if I would...
And we'll stick with this one, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I would consider that underwear, per se. That is very little clothing.
It's a thong. It's a lolly and a thong.
Yeah, it's a lolly and a thong.
Very controversial when the anime came out.
Yeah, don't love that. This isn't an anime?
This one got animated.
Which one is this?
This is Fate Apocrypha.
We
right
are
there with Fran.
so watching Fate Apocrypha.
It's in the hat, technically.
You need to pull it out of the hat.
I'm not putting this one up. I don't like this one nearly enough.
Goddamn, this sounds amazing.
Achilles,
Fran, Jack the Ripper,
Vlad the
Third. Oh, you've got all the Halloween servants here.
Yeah.
And then Achilles.
So, I actually think you might enjoy the... Fate Apocrypha is a lot more focused on the servants, so I think you might enjoy it a little bit more.
I do like the kind of ripped up cape, though. Cape cloak thing. That's interesting. And the knife, I mean, it sticks to the whole Jack the Ripper kind of eviscerating and carving women open and pulling out parts of them. I don't know where they get girl from, but it's Fate. I mean, they made the King Arthur girl, so...
Well, I guess I should probably explain what's going on here.
Oh, boy.
So this is a particular version of Jack the Ripper. This theory of Jack the Ripper comes from either crazy people or mages, in which Jack the Ripper is a wraith created from the dead, aborted children of prostitutes in the streets of London.
That's interesting, because of the original 5 victims, a few of them were prostitutes.
That's where it comes from, is the prostitute angle of
Yeah.
this. That's why the motivation, that's what they say the motivation was in this, for this Jack the Ripper.
Interesting. And then I wonder...
And that's why Jack the Ripper appears as a children, or as a child, I mean, or as a children. Jack the Ripper also appears as a children. Let me see if they have a photo of that. Because this gets a little bit... Well, that's one of the children. That is not Jack the Ripper. That is that Jack? That actually might be
fan art.
No, none of this is fan art.
Oh.
This is probably one of the other children that make up Jack the Ripper, because Jack the Ripper is made up of more than just that one child. This is just the amalgamation of children.
Yeah, that is a very small thong. Is that a... Oh, no, that's not the...
As this Jack the Ripper is a unborn child aborted in the streets of London, and the fetus left in the gutter to die. The way this Jack the Ripper worked was that eventually enough of them were killed that they manifested as a child and found the nearest prostitute and started calling the prostitute mother. When the prostitute failed to acknowledge Jack the Ripper as their child, they kept at it, and eventually, in order to feel the warmth of their mother, they cut her stomach open and...
Crawled inside her?
Tried to.
That seems par for course, following this revelation. I feel like there's some sort of mythological or folklorish being that does involve the ghosts of dead children. But the closest I've found so far Googling is a myling, which is a piece of Scandinavian folklore, which is not what I'm looking for.
This Jack the Ripper is treated more or less as a ghost, although it does have aspects of the other Jack the Ripper I showed you where they don't really know what it is, because that's one of Jack the Ripper's noble phantasms, I believe, is that Jack the Ripper, you only can know what Jack the Ripper looks like and only realize it's Jack the Ripper when you see her. Mm-hmm. When you're not looking at her, you completely forget that you were attacked by Jack the Ripper.
Interesting.
And you will not remember her image unless you're looking at her.
Interesting. Is there a reason why she has scars on her cheeks?
I don't know off the top of my head, actually. There might be, but otherwise that might just be brutalized child.
Yeah, I think the closest I can find to this is La Llorona and the myling. Which actually is kind of interesting, because I know a lot of the Fate authors kind of fuck around with, like, pulling different things that they think will fit from, like, different areas of the world.
A little bit.
And sometimes straight up just combining shit.
This one in particular referenced Wraith.
Yeah. Yeah, which would make sense. I mean, a lot of female ghosts are called kind of wraiths. You know, if they're more malevolent than a ghost. Like, a wraith is typically able to physically harm someone in the real world, where a ghost isn't always able to physically harm someone. So I suppose that makes sense.
Jack the Ripper also has a couple other things going on with her as far as her noble phantasms go. Another one is a poisonous fog that engulfs the city she's in. Mm-hmm. So while she's around, there's a poisonous fog that, if you're a servant, you're probably fine, but if you're not a servant, it can fuck you up.
Yeah, so you're saying the wraith is created from the ghosts of aborted children?
Yes. Okay,
so a Mylingar is actually pretty interesting in connection, just to say. They come into existence when a child is unwanted and killed by its mother. They can be heard singing in the night to reveal their mother's crimes. And they chase lone wanderers at night and jump on them, demanding to be carried to a graveyard. And then kill their victims in rage, either when that's completed or if it doesn't happen. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm sure that's not where it's from, but...
There might have been some influences here and there.
Yeah. Honestly, though, that's not very covert. Like, if I saw a girl in a thong and a cloak...
Well, because she disappears into the night.
Yeah.
This is more like a ghost than an actual person.
Yeah.
There's two more notable phantasms, I believe, from Jack. The next one is called Maria the Ripper.
Okay.
Which... That one plays on the prostitute. It's effectively it's especially effective against non-virgin women.
Okay.
And I believe it goes that her knife is basically starts in the uterus of the woman.
Okay, that's interesting.
As she appears to them. Then there's the last one, which might be combined with the fog one. I can't remember. In which if Jack the Ripper is killed, the person who killed Jack the Ripper then has to not fight, but confront the souls. All of the souls that make up Jack the Ripper.
Mm-hmm. So, you said it's called Ripper Maria?
Maria the Ripper.
So, there are 2 Marys out of the canonical 5 victims. The first victim is called Mary Ann Nichols, and her vagina was stabbed twice when she was found with her bowels protruding. And the final one was Mary Jane Kelly. That's the one that was extensively mutilated and disemboweled and found in a room with with all of her uterus and kidneys and viscera spread around the room and hung from stuff.
Pleasant.
It's the one that they have pictures of. Yeah. See? Pictures. I shall insert to screen after a trigger warning.
Maybe you shouldn't.
It's not that gruesome. You could barely see it. It's all black and white and hard to see.
Up to you, I think.
Plus, her face is all hacked up beyond recognition. You can't see her dead eyes. It's fine. Also, her uterus is placed beneath her head after being removed from her body. I think Knickknacks may be a little disturbed by how much joy I get out of Jack the Ripper.
I guess let me...
So what's her other NP?
I just gave you all 4
Oh, okay. I thought you said there was one other. No. Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, so that's pretty much Jack the Ripper, I believe.
Yeah, it's just in Fate Apocrypha.
Yeah.
What are the 7 servants in Fate Apocrypha?
14.
Oh, so...
Actually, more like 16.
Jesus, why are there so many?
Well,
if it's something explained in the anime, I'll figure it out later.
It won't have been up, but eventually there is a video I put up on the mechanics of the Fuyuki Grail War that touches upon the system that allows for that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's something that I listened to but didn't pay attention to.
Exactly.
Haha.
Teaser for a video that might come out next week, it might come out next month, it might come out next year, who knows?
God, murder lollies, man. What does Fate have with murder lollies?
Murder lollies are fun, although I think I could do with a little bit more clothing.
Yeah, pants.
At least the pants.
Yeah, I don't mind her having like midriff showing, but I need pants.
Yeah, the cloak was an FGO edition.
Yeah, I need like at least bike shorts.
And then, like I brought up in the other Jack the Ripper, that if Jack the Ripper was summoned into any other class, it'd be very murder-happy at go. Mm-hmm. This Jack the Ripper is and was.
She looks very murder-happy.
And the only master that was capable of working with her was a woman that actually took her in as her daughter.
10 out of 10. So, fun fact, we do actually, in speaking of Jack the Ripper in anime, and the fact that I referenced this anime in another Halloween video, but in Black Butler we actually get a Jack the Ripper kind of character, except it's not Jack the Ripper. So in that anime, it's one of the main characters of the first couple episodes. Turns out that she's infertile, and so she murders women who go to get abortions at her clinic because she's a doctor, because she thinks that they're wasting like their ability to do something that she can never have. Except she has a Grim Reaper working for her that helps her commit these murders. A man who is very twisted.
Fascinating.
Yeah, he has a chainsaw instead of a Reaper scythe or anything like that.
You know, we should end it after I bring this up, but I know another anime that has a Jack the Ripper in it.
What?
Sono Chino Sadame.
Is that
Joe.
Joe?
See you next time, folks.